I drew the DNA, which I'll draw again. And then I drew the base pairs. And then I said that mutations happened. Mutations occurred when the base pairs had fallen out. The base pairs had fallen out for various reasons, like this. And I said that the medicine, the compound, I represented by an arrow. And I simply said that the compound, what the compound did was simply to replace the base pairs, you see. To fill up these available states, to fill up these empty states. Like that.
Why does the compound get into, how does it come?
Yeah, that's a good question. And last day I said that this happened because the compound was the right molecular weight and it had the right kinetic energy. And then I made the calculation. I didn't do the whole calculation, but I said that the momentum of the compound could be calculated simply from the formula P squared over 2m equals 3, which is equal to the kinetic energy, which is equal to 3 half kT, you see, and the body temperature being what it is, added to 273, and Boltzmann's constant being what it is, and the molecular weight of the compound, which I happen to know, that allowed me to calculate the momentum, and simply putting this momentum then in de Broglie's formula for the wavelength of a particle, which is equal to Planck's constant divided by P. So I calculated P from this, I put P in here, and then I got lambda to be roughly of the order of 10 to the minus 9 meters. And that very important calculation tells me that this particle, which is a particle of course, but it's also a wave, is of the right wavelength to interfere or to see or to be captured by this space here, which is roughly 10 to the minus 9 meters. See? So that this particle can be thought of not just as a particle, but actually as a wave. In the first approximation, this particle is simply a plane wave. We say a plane wave, you see. And so this plane wave will interfere nicely with this crystal, aperiodic crystal. This is actually a linear crystal. But it's not a perfect crystal, so they call it an aperiodic crystal. Schrodinger in 1944 called it an aperiodic crystal. In Schrodinger's book, What is Life?, Schrodinger called this thing an aperiodic crystal. He didn't say DNA, of course. An aperiodic crystal. So basically what we have here is like a diffraction experiment. See, and if this wavelength landed here, which I got from over here, is of the right length, then it will interfere with these, you can call them simply like holes. Like, the diffraction experiment, we've got, let's do the diffraction experiment for 2 holes. The plane wave is here, roughly the order of, say, the size or the distance here, and of course you get this interference business, right? Provided you don't mess around with find out which hole the particle goes through, then you get this nice interference pattern. See? So that was sort of what I talked about last week, and I tried to say that this medicine or compound, I like to call it a compound, this compound simply found available states and was captured by these available states, which they're rungs on a ladder or something like that. But now today, what I wanted to talk about was, why does the DNA open and close? I read something about this, and I have my own ideas. And my ideas as to why DNA is opening and closing all the time has to do with the nitro in these base pairs, A, T, C, G, I believe, like that, you see. Last day I talked about nitro. It's a special atom. It acts, at least I feel it acts as a fermion. Right. I mean, you take nitro, you can take two nitro, and you can put them together. But I've never seen anybody take, say, three nitro. You know, nitro has a valence of 3, right? And okay, there's one more nitro, but I've never seen anyone put another nitro next to 2 nitro. I've never seen 3. Another way to look at this is take a benzene molecule. That's not going to work. Take a benzene molecule like this. Add a methyl. Now you have toluene. And then add the famous NO2, NO2, and NO2, and what do you have? You have TNT, right? You have TNT, and of course, if you hit this, this will fly apart. It's an explosive, you see. So why does it explode? Well, simply because these 3 nitro don't want to be together. Right? 2 nitro, yeah, but the 3rd nitro, no, it's, they're not happy. And so basically what you have here is odd numbers of nitro. Odd numbers of nitro in these quantum states, right? And these available. These are occupied states. Right? Occupied states. Right now, I keep forgetting what the term is for this, but I'm thinking periodic potential. See, that's what's on my mind right now. Periodic potential, which I didn't talk about last time, but I'm going to write down periodic potential anyway, because that's what's on my mind. But anyway, when you have odd numbers of nitro together that are close together, you will have this explosion. Not a big explosion, it's big enough.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
What is periodic potential?
Well, it's sort of what I've got drawn here with the DNA molecule. Let's draw the DNA molecule over again. Right? And now, I would say this is, say, X, the X-axis. And everywhere you have one of these twists, you have some kind of a potential well. Like this, right? Like that. And then it goes on. It goes on this way to infinity, and it goes on this way to infinity. And what I'm saying is that quantum mechanically in a similar way as this periodic potential, which I'll get to in a minute. Or maybe I'll get to in a minute. And but the dynamics of the opening and closing of the DNA is related to these odd numbers of nitro getting close to each other. Now, this is not really an electromagnetic interaction. Three nitros together. This is a repulsion. But it's not the same kind of repulsion as, say, you've got two protons that come together, let's say, and now you have the Coulomb repulsion. This repulsion is different. It's not the same thing. Now, you asked me the magic question last week. You said, what's in the stuff, right? And what did I come back with? I said nitro, right? Well, let's suppose we go back to our data here. 137, which is way too high. This is cancer. 43, less cancer. 1, no cancer at all. And I wrote on the board last time this famous equation, I call it the equation, DNA, RNA, protein. And I said that these polypeptide numbers were this side of the equation, the protein, see? And this is not toxic, this substance, this compound, I'll call it K for fun. This compound K is not toxic. Not toxic, I know, because I've tried it, and I'm still alive. Now, if I didn't kill any cells, and I reduced this character's polypeptide markers down to practically zero, then the only thing I could have done, really, is fix the DNA. Well, let's go back to this DNA here. Let's say, well, we've got some base pairs here, we've got some base pairs here, we've got some base pairs here, but oh no, we've got holes here. Those are the mutations, right? Well, we have case number 1. Case number 1. If these are mutations and there's no nitro in these mutations, at least not too much, will this DNA open? Will the DNA open? Well, maybe it will, but maybe it just won't. If it doesn't open, then this DNA cannot code at all. See? The DNA cannot code because this thing just won't open. It won't open because it doesn't have any nitro. Now there's a problem with that argument, right? You're looking at me because we're up. Time's up?
Almost.
Really? So now I got to do the third scenario, the third installment. What I have to prove is that this nitro, at least I have to show that there is the cause is there, but it's an exclusive cause, which I haven't really done yet. I have just suggested, I believe it of course, but I have to, at this point I'm suggesting that this nitro goes into these available states, and because it is accepted by these available states,